My advice is say it's 7 o'clock, so why don't we get this meeting underway. It's great to see everybody, and thanks for coming out to be with us tonight. We've got a few items to cover on the agenda, a couple old business items, and we've got 3 items on the consent agenda. I'll call the meeting to order, and we've got 3 items on the consent agenda. Is there any discussion or questions or comments about those? Do I hear a motion that we approve the consent agenda? Second.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Brad, you or Paul want to kind of give an overview of what we've been working on with the public hearing and comment policies?
Yeah, so it's been probably 2 months or so since all of us have kind of been together and talking about it. I know that there's been some internal discussion, there were some possible adjustments to it. And then I've spoken with Paul about that as well. So what we wanted to do tonight was just kind of get together openly to see if there are any more additions or comments that you may have before we put a final draft together for council to approve.
Okay. Has anybody had a chance well, I haven't had a chance to look at it, but in terms of anything that we need to take a look at to adjust it? Just to give you all some background, after the public hearing that we had in November for sheets, that we wanted to go back and take a look at, we're always trying to do things better. What could we do better? And so we went back after the public hearing in November, and Paul Coots, our town attorney, has sort of worked on putting together a draft for both the public hearing, which we don't have that often, and as well as the public comment period that we have at every meeting that several of you that are here tonight have spoken before. So we've worked on that some, and Paul, you want to kind of give us an overview of where we are?
Yeah, and I just think the last kind of issues are when you have a public hearing, are we going to limit it to the people that sign up, or are we going to allow additional people that don't sign up to come up and make some comments in the end? Because I know we've had some discussions, and part of the public comment that we've had discussions about is folks may show up without a question, right, and not necessarily have something prepared to speak on, but they may hear something in the course of the public hearing that then they want to speak to. And so that's one thing that we had talked about adding to it, and not just limiting it to signups. 9 out of 10 public hearings, you're going to get 3 or 4 people speaking. It's the one every 5 years that you're going to get a bunch of people speaking at. And you've got the ability as a council to, if everybody's going to get up and saying the same thing over and over, like, hey, we don't like traffic, and then the next person says the same thing, that you can kind of ask, is there anybody who want to talk about anything other than traffic? You got that. And so I think my kind of critical question is it just going to be limited to the people that sign up, or after you get through all the people that sign up, you're going to ask if anybody's got any comments that addresses a new issue that hasn't already been raised? Okay. And we can draft it either way, but I want to draft something that you guys want to see. Everything else is pretty standard. Public comments aren't really changing. A lot of our direction in there really is just citing statutes and allows it to be a very written and obvious policy about you guys controlling the flow of that public hearing.
Any comments or questions? I think Paul sort of spoke to this earlier about, again, seeing what we can do to do things better, and Paul alluded to this, and I agree with what he said in terms of having a situation with the public hearings where we still want you to sign up before the meeting, and there'll be a sign-up sheet as there was that night. But we're talking about adding a period after after all the information is presented at the public hearing to give, and Paul said this as well, give anyone a chance to get up and have a minute to ask a question, to make a comment based on what they've heard during the meeting. And the people who signed up to speak at the, before the meeting will have priority, I think, in terms of speaking.
Yep, that's right.
But then anybody else is something, and I think at least one of you all had some, some things that were just prompted, and so we want to be responsive to that. And hopefully we're going to have a draft that you all can look at, and you seek some public input on that, and get that in place. Now, Paul said it real well. That I've been on the council, going on 9 years, and we've only had one public hearing like that in the 9 years that I've been on the council, and suit me just fine if we never had another one. But we need to be prepared for a situation like that. Not necessarily it was the worst case situation, but where we got a policy and a plan in place to make sure everybody has an opportunity to speak, but also do it in I'm a Presbyterian, do it as we say in an orderly fashion. So, okay. Brad, Waterline?
Yep, so we've spoken to the county, and they've reached out asking what the status is for the town on the MOU between Swepsonville, the county, and Carrouth. I know a couple of months back we spoke, there were some questions that were brought forward by the council, for which sought some answers. We've since spoken with the county and got some of that information. We've had some discussions internally about this. The draft that has been shown to you all, there are a couple bullet points that we as staff feel should be included in there. So we want to speak with you about those, and also see if there's anything else the council would think of that they would like to see included in that agreement as well.
Does everybody know about this Waterline project that we're talking about? Just in case, maybe.
So we're down here past Alfred Road, where Alfred Road runs into Sweps-Sax. There are 6 houses that have been deemed to be impacted from the old landfill. So part of that, what the county is doing, has been to install a water line about 4,500 feet to serve, or be able to serve those 6 properties. As it stands, 5 of those 6 have agreed to connect to it once it's installed.
Some of you probably haven't been here long enough to even know that as you're going down Sweps-Sax Rd, and there where Alfred Road runs into Sweps-Sax, if you make a left, the county landfill, when we moved here in 1990, the county landfill was there before it moved down to Austin Quarters and Saxbahaw. And the trees and everything have grown up. Now it's probably even hard, if you didn't know it was there, you wouldn't know. We're going to talk about that.
Yeah, so what we wanted to confirm is that, go back to let them know that the town's thoughts would be that system development fees would be charged by the town. It would be a requirement of the county to pay those fees, not for the county to pass those on to the property. In addition to that, in that MOU, it was mentioned that the town charge inside rates. They are outside, and treat them as we would treat anybody else that's outside the town limits, and those rates be charged to them as well. The county, through its contractors, provide town proof that since the wells in those areas are considered contaminated, that all connections to the plumbing to the house be disconnected. The town receives proof of that so that we don't run any chance of any cross-contamination backfeeding in our system. Additionally, what we want to do as well, in the event that the project is not funded in its entirety, is to put a clause in there that states that the town is not gonna be financially responsible for any sort of construction or costs associated with it. It is our line. Once it's approved by the state, or passed by the state, we will accept it at that time, but there will be no financial burden to the town for the installation of that line.
Brad, I have a question, just real quick, on the pressure tests and disinfection reports and the bacteriological reports. Do we know if those are gonna happen after the installation of the new lines, or will that be something set up before the transfer of ownership occurs?
As far as making sure that it's not connected to us.
Right, I guess my question is, I wanna make sure that our folks are covered as far as, having a baseline for these studies and making sure they're aware of no contamination that's coming in from the new lines.
Yeah. So I think what we would do is we would work with them and make sure that there is new plumbing installed, disconnected out the back end, and then ran meters be out front. To where there would be some new plumbing installed on their end, and then that's how they would be connected to our system for no cross-contamination from our system.
Okay. And will those reports be publicly available?
That I don't know. It'd be more of a record keeping for us, to make sure that they show that they are not connected in any way whatsoever. That's more of a checks and balance for us, from that standpoint.
Okay.
Alabama Carmen can't have oversight on it.
Yes, they will review the water line, the construction drawings, and they will be, as if anything else is going on, oversee them and be involved in that.
I'm going to assume that these recommendations, I think you all met on this, and there's a consensus among all, the three of you all, that this is what we need to do to beef this thing up and give us what we need.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Well, any comments or questions? I'm in support of what they've recommended, and there was a question about whether the residents have been made aware of the fact that they will be having water bills for the first time. And these people are wells. And so this will be the first time probably for a lot of them that they've ever had a water bill. And we just wanted to make sure that the county had done a good job of notifying those people so that there was no surprises and that they would come up here to Salt Amy when they got their first water bill. So
You said it was 5 of the 6 homeowners. Oh, is the 6th person still, have they said no, or are they still just kind of weighing the options, or?
We didn't get into the detail with them on what the status was. It was kind of led to believe that when it comes time, that they would likely shift and get back to that point to connect. But they do have agreements, they've signed stuff, or they will be signing stuff through the county, about the acknowledgement of what's going on, as Mayor was alluding to. But yeah, our stance kind of with us just being the provider of the water, we want to make sure that we are protecting our system as well.
do we need to take any sort of action or just?
No, it's not an action. I mean,
Okay.
What this is doing is giving us the ability to go back and present this to them, to let them know that this is what would be the requirements for the town to be able to take part in this agreement. So if they do agree to this and they do reinstate it in there, it'll have to go back before the county and Graham to approve as well, and then the council.
But the county has obtained its grant funding or however they're planning to pay for this.
I believe we didn't discuss the whole financial situation, but there are some grant funds. What those funds cover, I don't know that percentage.
All right. Do y'all have any questions?
I'm just curious, these residents are, I know they have to do this for obvious reasons with fire. It sounds like the county through grants for them is taking care of the kind of tap fees for installing these equipment.
It's believed that the grant cost will cover that, and that's what we want to do is put in there that any cost that we would charge any other developer in these situations when new taps and stuff or folks are added, we don't want them passed to the
Yeah,
residents.
yeah.
That's why we're putting that statement in there.
Sounds fair.
Franz, anything else on the engineering? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
I got a question, did I understand in the verbiage you were talking that the, residents on Sweps-Sax Rd, there's 5 or 6 residents would be paid for by the county all the way into their houses? Is that what I understood? By the county?
That's our assumption.
Okay. Well, that's what I thought you said, I just want to make sure. Thank you.
And I don't want to get into tall grass, but I mean, will they, I guess these houses don't have a meter, so they don't have a line from we normally take our service to the meter, and then the homeowner's responsible for the line from the meter to the house. And so that may be getting way into the weeds, but I guess they've worked all that out with them.
Yeah, again, we don't know what the specifics are, again, but for us, we just wanna make sure whatever's decided behind where the meter will be, that there is no connection from that well to that house is our part. They don't know who's responsible for what, beyond that.
Okay.
Just to be clear, it's not in the agreement now. Doesn't spell it out that way in the agreement now. What we're requesting is for them to do the entire project, all the construction connected to the houses, and turn it over to us without any cost to the homeowners. Because they will have the job of maintaining and providing the water going forward. That is what the grant's supposed to be for. We just don't want to get into the situation where suddenly the homeowners are kind of being left with a bill to be paid to us. And that's not the way to start off a relationship with the customer.
Exactly.
Is, given the situation that they're in.
Yeah. We don't want the homeowner to get stuck with a bill, but we don't want to get stuck with a bill either.
That's right.
This is
Because
a
that's
county,
what we're doing.
it's the county landfill that's causing the degradation in the well water. It's a county problem. The county, we believe, should be paying for the solution, protecting us and protecting the homeowners.
Shouldn't the county then pay for their monthly water bill? Right now, they don't have water bill, but it's a county problem causing all of this. Shouldn't the county be paying the monthly water bill hereafter?
Keith, I'll speak to that. I mean, I could see a case that could be made for that, but quite frankly, this council doesn't have a dog in that fight. And that's something those homeowners are gonna have to work out with the county, but it's a great point. I didn't mean to ignore you. I wasn't trying to ignore you back there a minute ago. I didn't see you had your hand up. Anything else on the engineering front?
I don't have anything significant to add. You do know that we're making the last payment to the contractor out here on the Main Street Waterline project, and we do have a 12-month warranty period that any workmanship or materials that there's a problem with, that it's responsibility of the contractor to come back and make repairs necessary during that time. Additionally, Alamance paving is supposed to come down and do some work on Sweps-Sax Rd associated with a sewer rehab project, and I think that'll occur in August.
Brad? Public comment. Who'd like to have something they want to bring before the council tonight? Who's gonna go first?
Oh,
Keith, you point back. Keith's right behind you. He had his hand up too.
Okay, real quick, this is just kind of revisiting, issues that Mark Menke and I brought up to council ago. I've been going through the minutes, I can't see yet where council, city, and DESCO and us have gotten together to resolve the issues. So I just wanted to kind of remind you, get it back up on the agenda, and ask you again, please, let's schedule something with DESCO. This is the water that runs down our road every time there's a decent rain. The road hasn't been graded properly, and there's no drainage at the bottom. So that's an issue. I talked to Daniel Sullivan. He is with, he's the superintendent of the area, and he said yes, they're willing to meet, but he didn't know anything about a meeting. So the maintenance agreement is one issue. But before that, we need to talk to DESCO about repairing the road from the traffic of the heavy earth movers. And I know we brought photos the last time, but they weren't real clear, so I made additional photos now. This is the degradation of the road from the side. And this one shows how deep it goes. It's getting to the point every time it rains hard or floods at all, that the side of that road, especially there, which is right above the culvert, is getting narrower and narrower to the point where I'm waiting for Amazon or somebody to say, we can't come back there. So something needs to be done. DESCO needs to pay for it. And because it's the town's road, this was all before the pump station. And because it's the town road and us, I think they all need to be involved with us to talk to DESCO and find out what they're going to do about it before it gets really bad. Last thing, I know the town, and maybe it was Brad and DESCO and people from the quality control, water quality of North Carolina met because there was runoff from where they're piling dirt. Well, in this last heavy rain, it's still running off. And this is a picture looking down from my house to the Haw River. So you can see the silt that's running in.
Brad, can you sort of update everybody on kind of conversations and kind of what we've looked at in terms of access to the pump station?
Yeah, so we, after y'all came out, we had some discussions internally. We had folks go out, about, I believe, 3 or 4 weeks after that, we had a conversation with DESCO. We got some information. We're waiting for some additional information. We've since had folks from the town and our engineers go out there and continue to assess it. The town's view, and I think our engineers would confirm as well, we don't see right now that we are impacted from an access standpoint. That we have the means to be able to access the facility here at the pump station in the means as we've had in the past.
Okay, but two things. First of all, I would ask that if you, since we have dog in this fight, I would ask that if the town meets with DESCO, we be involved. And second of all, it does affect, because the photos that show the water running down the road and pooling at the bottom, that's running the gravel off of the road. And you guys are gonna pay for at least half of that gravel. I've been doing it myself. I've been trimming the weeds off the side of the road. I've been paying a guy to grade parts of it so it'll drain better. I'm paying for it. So I guess Then the other question is, who do I send your side of the bill to? Because I'm tired of paying for it. I mean, you don't see it as a problem, that's fine. But when I fix the road, you're gonna get a bill, that's what I'm saying. So, and I've already sent those photos to Carolina Water Quality. I don't know what they're doing. Daniel said he didn't know anything about it, etc. And this issue, I will talk, I'll pick up with Brad, the water. The calcite coming to our house, we're at the end of the line, is so bad, you can't get this fitting taken apart. Not even in a vise and vice grips. It ain't coming apart. The calcite freezes this like super glue. And I replaced a lot of these, and again, I'm tired of replacing. So I'll talk to Brad about that on his own. But yes, something needs to be done about the road. I don't want to get to the point where the edge of the road is no longer, you can't find it. And then in some kind of a storm situation, snow or rain, somebody goes off the edge of the road because they don't know it comes in like that. That's an issue. So anyway, thank you very much for your time.
Appreciate that. Comments, questions? So you've not had any luck in speaking with Eric or any of the people with Desco?
I talked to Eric, and he sent a guy out who was supposed to regrade the edges of the road so the water, there are ditches alongside. He was going to regrade it so the water would go out through the ditches. But then he never came back. And I reached out to both Eric and Daniel since to know they.
Have you had any conversations with him, with Desco?
Yeah, the conversations we had were about future access with the phases, phase 3. It wasn't about anything, just so that the town can know exactly what that looks like in the future. It didn't pertain to anything in the interim, because what we wanted to do was see what future access to the area looks like before we start suggesting or seeing about modifications to the current.
Paul, is there any sort of, and if you need to research this, tell me, but I mean, is Desco under any sort of obligation if the land, the dirt that they move there has impacted that road? Do they have any liability in maintaining that the key part of the road is taken care of?
Well, I mean, they have the obligation as they're moving dirt not to harm the neighbor's property, right? And that's, I believe that's an easement all the way back down to your property down there. So they should be respecting that, and they shouldn't have that kind of runoff there. And they recognize that there's an easement all the way down there, and it's on all the plats and everything else. And I think, in our conversations, it's obviously a timing question, right? It's what's going to happen in the future, but then what's going to happen, now with that road in the interim. And, that road shouldn't just be left to go bad during that time.
Right.
And it seems like that next phase is probably the phase they're going to be working on fairly soon, right? Which is where that easement is. We hope.
Yeah, because didn't some of the people who live in Quarry Hills now say that they had been told by your HOA that phase 3 was, I don't know if imminent is the right word, but that it was.
Well, actually, Brad's got the answer to that. He talked to Greg.
Yeah, they're working on phase 3.
Right, but we don't have a date
Yeah,
certain.
we don't have any.
I was thinking that somehow they'd given you all more of a date certain as to when they were going to be ready to go forward.
But originally, they told us it's phase 3, our meeting last October, and was changed to be. They told us that they would start phase 3 in the spring. That would be this. Now it looks like it's going to be maybe next spring, possibly. But the bottom line is to a lot of what you're saying, I think it all goes back to what we've been told over and over again, is whatever I've got hanging in my garage wall, which is the 2019 June, July, whatever it was, plan, that is what they'll do. But they'll do no more than that. It's not on the plan, but that's what they keep saying. So that's a nice way of saying they're not really worried about the dam, they're not really worried about a few other things, so. But they're developers.
Do they have to, is there anything that they have to notify us or get approval from us or anything before they officially begin phase 3, or can they just start it whenever they want?
No, we'd have to review it.
They have to get a grade permit from the
Yeah.
main quality section, which was mentioned by this other gentleman, and they're allowed to grade. Now, when it comes time to build roads and whatnot, those DOT approves all the roadway drawings. We review and approve all the water and sewer drawings. We also approve the flood studies that need to be review those on behalf of the town. And so at some point, I mean, we do expect drawings to come in, and we do expect that they have certain amenities that they've indicated to be in phase 3 for those to be addressed as well.
The amenities, there's a bond that would, a bond that would kick in at the end if those are not.
Well, there are bonds to finish the work, the final topping on the roadways.
Yeah.
Have to go back in and make repairs.
Yeah.
Finish the paving work, or DOT will take over those roads. And our internal discussion is to, when we meet with them, to have a more certain date on when those items will occur before we approve additional drawings.
Anything else?
I think that your question, the bond would be a bond for them. I guess my thinking of the bond would be is only if they decide not to live up to their agreement, then you activate the bond, right? I mean, you call a bond, have whatever the word would be. Then there's, you never know if this is just out of curiosity, what is the bond? Is it $1 million? Is it $1.5 million? Is it like what the number is?
There's a variety of them.
Oh, okay.
Off the top of my head, there's a variety based on some of the different phases.
Okay.
And how much, I don't know what they had too long.
Because the biggest thing for us living there is growth.
Right.
Because that's the biggest thing for us, because that's a ton of money. So we want there to be a big enough bond to cover in case they chose not to proceed. Because, you know, I guess from what I understand, they could go 3, 4, 5 years and not finish it, right? Is that correct? Because there's no timeline. Is that correct?
I think what we want to do is sit down with them on these phase 3 drawings, and talk about phase 1, phase 2.
It's perfect.
Getting those completed. Typically, what you'll find from a developer, they do have a tendency to kick the can down the road, so to speak. The county's subdivision ordinance, which this project was originally approved under, did allow bonding. So we make sure those bonds were put in place. However, a developer does not want a bond to be called on them, because that affects their ability to develop elsewhere in the future. So you got two things going for you on that. One is that you do have bonds that are being held that cover the costs that were, quite frankly, were prepared at that particular time. And you do have the idea that a developer, and I believe Eric has other developments that he wants to continue to develop in this area and other areas. He doesn't want a bond call on him, but it would be, if it needed to be, to get it done.
Do those kick in at like true 100% completion, or at like a lower threshold, like 98, 95, so many lots or anything like that?
There is not a set time for them to be done, and that's what we want to talk about. What he's probably going to say And I don't remember how many lots he had in his last phase. I don't remember if it's 100 or is it close to 100?
I think it's close to 100.
Well, close to 100, he's gonna say, well, I really need, to sell another takedown, by the builder before I can finish certain improvements. But the bonds were, done at 125% of the cost of the work. So if it's $100,000 worth of work, it's $125,000. If it was $1 million, it's $1,250,000 bond. So there is guarantees there through the bonding companies.
I have a question about the, I know you mentioned amenities, but you only mentioned the road. So we was told about the pickleball court and walking trails being the amenities. And is that still in play as the amenities portion of the bond coverage, or are you gonna still do that?
The only bonds that were put into place were bonds that they covered, the elements that were being recorded at that particular time. So a lot of these amenities are in phase 3. And, again, that's going to be part of the discussion about when they're going to be installed, and whether or not he's going to try to bond those. And we got to decide whether or not we're going to allow those to be bonded, or we're going to say, no, you can't plat until you got those in. That's something that is probably a negotiation tool between this council, Brad, Polly, and myself, will sit down with them. It's a serious discussion.
Yeah, one last thing, sir. From all the discussions that I've had with Brad, with the people, Greg, I talked to Greg, I don't hear anything that says anything different. It's like everybody's saying the same thing. So that's kind of encouraging, okay? But I think what it really boils down to is it's a slow dance, just like it always is. But I think that's the thing that frustrates people. And there's been a lot of earth moved around, like this gentleman's talking about. When you move that much earth, you create problems with erosion and all the rest of it. So it has been a process. So.
Well, I think I said a couple of council meetings ago that when we dealt with this, in December of 2018, where we granted the waiver for them to do that development, that if you'd asked me that 8 years later that project wouldn't be finished, I said there's no way in hell that would not have been done. Now, that's on us, that we did, that we didn't look at that. I'm not trying to dump that back to Desco, but I mean, I think none of us who were involved with that at that point thought there was any way that it would take 8 years, going on 8 years, to not even have phase 3 platted. So.
And that's hindsight. We move on.
Yeah. Anything else? Yes, ma'am.
I have a question about the report we received about the water.
Okay.
First of all, was it tested? It was tested on June the 30th. So what's the outcome? Is it all right now?
So so we have different samples we take throughout the year: weekly sample, monthly, quarterly, semi-annually, annually, number of things. So because of this sample here, and we buy our water from Graham submitted theirs in May, and because we buy our water from Graham, we were supposed to submit ours at the same time. We had ours scheduled for the end of the month, and then by the time we realized that we had to submit it with Graham, it was at that point where we got this letter. So that's why we put the June 30th date. It has since been tested. Everything is good. But we now know going forward that when this sample is submitted, we got to be in conjunction with Graham. This was more of a reporting rather than a blown sample.
Rather than what?
Like a sample that was bad. So it was more of the time of when the sample was submitted, not the results of the sample.
I don't think I understand.
So we have.
Yeah.
So the reporting period is listed as April 1st through June 30th. So Graham submitted theirs in May. So because we buy our water from Graham, we had to submit ours as a requirement. When Graham submitted theirs in the same reporting period. So their reporting period was May. We had our samples scheduled to be taken at the end of June. So because we didn't submit it with Graham, we got a notice of violation of us being out of compliance. It's not anything to do with the results of the sample. The results of the sample passed. It was the time when the sample was submitted versus the results of the sample.
What happened to the communication between Graham and us?
So that's something that we're gonna work on going forward to know that anything, so we gotta figure out if there's anything else that we gotta submit with it.
Well, with this document, it's got on your, on the back side, you can, see back of the notice for further information on contaminants.
So yeah, that should have been omitted, there was nothing on the back of it for when it was printed.
So is it all right now if we test it?
It's been tested, everything is approved in compliance. That notice, this is something we're gonna work on too, that notice was to let you know that it was a reporting issue, not a results issue.
Okay.
That makes sense, Kay?
Who's supposed to get this notice?
So we sent it out with the utility bills.
Utility bill? Water. So I've already received it?
You should have.
It was on Facebook.
Pardon?
It was on Facebook.
It's on Facebook. Well,
That's where I saw
my
it.
computer's just been sent out today, I'll be there for 3 weeks at least.
But it was on Facebook.
So this was on Facebook.
That letter and the statement was on Facebook.
And you have to send a hard copy. You got it on Facebook.
I'm electronic, so it's probably why I get it. The one water bill is electronic. I don't get the paper
Yeah,
statement.
yeah. Well, did everybody get this? Who gets a statement? I never did. Alex, he's not here. Well,
I do mine electronically, and they just tell me what I pay each month, so.
what?
They just tell me what I owe each month, and it comes out on my checking account on that.
Yeah, well, yeah, this water issue, so, yeah,
I understand what you're, I just overlooked it. It was giving me electronic paper, I overlooked it.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, I understand, Kay, the confusion that somebody could have over this, and it's frustrating because you think there's something wrong with our water. But in this instance, it was just that, Graham, we were not aware that Graham had gone ahead and submitted their report to the state. And some things are just automatic, and they don't get one from Swepsonville. Then that sets a trigger off in Raleigh, and they're gonna tell us we're in violation, which technically we were, but we weren't in violation because we had, bad water or something like that. It was just that we didn't test the water at the timing of the water test.
When was the last time Graham did it and you didn't know it and you got the notice? Or,
I don't think that's ever happened before.
so we talked to Graham to find out how it happened? How did you get it done and turn it in and now we did?
And Brad, I mean, if there was an actual water quality issue, there's a multitude of ways that the town would notify its residents if there was an actual issue with the water. If there is something unsafe, it's not gonna come on the back of a paper bill. We're gonna notify people electronically, by mail, there's a multitude of ways that if there was an actual concern about the water, there's a multitude of ways that you would be notified.
So you're saying I should ignore this? should we, I mean,
Not that you should ignore it, that's just a requirement by the state of something that we had to do. It's part of the box we gotta check in that situation of us sending that out. Again, as Lee was saying, that in the event that something was ever wrong, it's gonna be known that there's an issue. This is a reporting issue, not a, again, sampling issue.
it doesn't say just a reporting issue.
So that's something, again, we're gonna work on going forward, that we're gonna work to be able to do that. So it says not met monitoring requirements. So for us, we're monitoring our system, so we review that as sampling. So it's easy to see that somebody could misinterpret it as bad samples.
Well, I think to avoid all this, a conversation with Graham as to why they went ahead and had never happened before, and they submitted it so that you got tagged for being out of violation.
Yeah, so that's something that we're gonna check on to make sure if there's anything else that we gotta do, that we're on the same page with that month and period that we have to be able to do that.
Okay.
Brad, are there other municipalities that will also purchase water from Grant besides us?
I believe so. I'm not sure which ones it is, but.
I'm just curious if we can kind of all get together and go to Grant and say, hey,
Yes,
can we improve communication?
because basically, at some level, we are their customer.
Right.
And they have made their customer look real bad right now. In the eyes of some people who got that. And, you know, that's, typically, that's not a good thing, because you don't want to put your clients and customers in a bad light. And so, hopefully, we'll get, that'll be made clear to you. So, thank you. Yes, sir.
The test is done like annually, that sample done annually, or every 3 years, or
I believe this one's quarterly.
quarterly? You know, when you still don't get the results, and you guys.
Yes, sir.
That's what's taken, and then the results came back in.
Yeah, so the results and everything came back, and they come back in like a day or two. Like,
So
so they came
you
back.
guys always notified that, hey, the test was done, these are the results, everything passed.
Yeah,
Or just because of the, time was off,
because of the time.
throughout that, okay. So we been notified, just what it is, say, every report, so, yeah.
All that makes sense. Anything else? Council, comments? Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So,
Second.
second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you all.